I'll never forget that meeting I had where I was sitting with my men and they were all looking back at me thinking that I was leading in my life. It's burned, it's etched into my psyche. We've got a big problem in the world today. And that problem is that there's men all over the globe who don't see themselves as leaders, who don't actually believe that they're leaders in their lives. Let me ask you this question. If you're not leading your life, then who is? Who's in charge? Who's steering the ship? Who's calling the shots? Who's making decisions for you? Now, I've been told my whole life that I'm a leader. From when I was at a young age on my sports teams, all through school, my friends and my family have always come to me for guidance, support, advice, etc. And it's always been mirrored back to me that, oh, wow, you're such a natural leader. But I never really received that. I never really believed that I was leading for most of my life. I just thought I was just showing up wherever I could. The thing is that I'm not special. I'm not unique. We all have this inherent quality to be leaders. And if we look at the definition and the dissection of what a leader is someone who makes decisions, who's decisive. A leader is someone who has vision, who can see where he wants to go and take steps and make strategies that will help him get there. A leader is organized. A leader is deliberate. A leader has a plan around how he wants to execute something that he desires, how he wants to fulfill that vision. So this all landed for me a couple of years back when I had just had my first child. My wife and I were adjusting to new family life, and it was brought up as a question to me, who's leading at home? Who's leading my family in our finances? Who's leading in my family when it comes to the big picture and the vision that we have? And by default, I said, well, I guess it's me. And everybody looked back at me and I could see in every man's eyes that they're like, no, dude, no way. You're not leading by the way you're showing up right now. Sure, maybe that's the expectation. Maybe by default, I'm supposed to be a leader in that situation, but I'm only really leading if I'm showing up that way. If I'm being decisive, if I'm holding a vision, if I'm offering a plan and a strategy with solutions to get my family where I want them to be. And so I've carried this with me and I've used this as a lens through which I see men all around me. And I see a lot of men who are capable just as much as I or any other person is to be a leader in their lives, be masters of their destinies, but they're dropping the ball left and right. And the problem is that most of us don't know how to embrace these qualities of leadership. Most of us have never been trained to show up when the rubber meets the road, when times really get challenging, when shit really hits the fan. Most of us bail because for the majority of our lives, somebody else always picked up the pieces for us. But if any of us want to run a business, we want to be the patriarch of a household, have a family, be in a marriage and in a relationship, any of these things that most of us want to do, then we have to be able to step up and accept that mantle of leadership. One of the major resistances that we have to leading in our lives is that then we're responsible for the outcome. That's another quality of leadership. If I am committed to being the leader, that means I'm responsible for the success and I'm also responsible for the failures. I take all of it. I take responsibility and account of everything that I create. It puts me in a position of power. It puts me in a position of leverage, but I also have to be willing to deal with the uncomfortable. Most of us are not willing to deal with the discomfort of admitting failure, of admitting that we missed the mark, we fell short. But a real leader is able to bounce back from that. A leader knows that failures pave the way to ultimate success. Failures are the classroom that allow us to get that master's degree in who we are. We have to be able to accept that as a possibility and not be so resistant to falling flat on our face. And then sharing the abundance that comes from a successful outcome. So if you're a leader in your business, that you're the one who takes accountability and responsibility for all the failures, but you're willing to share the triumphs with your whole team, not make it just about yourself. You see, these are the rare qualities of leadership that some people possess in our society, but most of us don't. And I believe, I'm going to say it right out, that most of you guys out there, you don't see yourself as a leader. And chances are, if you don't see yourself as a leader, then you're not. You're not leading, just like I wasn't. Just like I was in a position of leadership, but I wasn't actually showing up as a leader that my family needed me to be. And so where is the pivot? Where is the adjustment that we make? How can you, if you're hearing this message and it's like hitting you right in the heart because you know I'm talking to you because you've been sitting around, you've been letting life just happen around you. You haven't been stepping up because you've been afraid of what might happen, what you're going to be held accountable to, what kind of decisions you're going to have to make and then accept responsibility on the other side. Listen up, okay? Now is the day. Right now is the time. to accept responsibility for everything in your life, to be able to bear that burden on your shoulders, not just for you, but for everyone else who counts on you. Now is the time to start making decisions and be decisive. Identify what your vision is. Identify what it is that you want to create in your life. Maybe it's just for the next few months. Maybe it's for the next 10 years. Whatever that is, clarify what that vision is for yourself, and then reverse engineer a plan back from there that's grounded in strategy and actionable steps in ways that you'll get from A to B to C to D, and then make decisions and take action on them. It's that simple. Be honest, be integral, be willing to be held accountable to the decisions and the actions that you make in your life. That is the mark of a leader. And you don't have to be standing on a stage speaking to 1,000 people. You don't have to be leading a multinational corporation to be a leader. You don't have to be the captain of the football team. You don't have to be these typical representations of leadership that we see and revere in our society. Start by leading oneself. Start by leading you. Start by being the master of every decision that you make in your life. All those vices and unproductive behaviors that you have, like sitting on the couch, watching too much Netflix, smoking too much weed, escaping on Tinder, jerking off to porn, whatever those habits are for you, can you rise above them and be the leader in your life? Or are you going to let these other things steer your bus? You're going to let the porn lead your life for you? Are you going to let the bottle or the smoke or whatever it is lead your life for you? Is that the man that you want to be? And is that the legacy you want to leave for whoever's watching, whoever is coming up after you? I know the answer to that question. It's almost rhetorical, because I know that none of us really want to be that guy. Some of us can't help ourselves. So if this message is really landing with you, I challenge you right now to look at your life, review everything that I said here about what it takes to be a leader in your life, and decide if you're ready for that. Decide if you're ready to step up, to be held accountable to all of the decisions and the choices that you make in your life. And then are you willing to make a strategy and take action on that strategy? Be held accountable to those commitments that you make. Whether you fulfill on them or whether you fail, be willing to be held accountable by people who know how to keep you accountable. I'll never forget that meeting I had where I was sitting with my men and they were all looking back at me thinking that I was leading in my life. It's burned, it's etched into my psyche, because I know that now that everywhere in my life where I'm not taking action, where I'm not being deliberate and decisive, I know that I'm surrendering leadership to someone or something else. And I know that's not the man I want to be. Question is that the man that you want to be? So decide right now. And if you're feeling the call, if you're ready to be a leader, say, I am ready. Drop it here in the comments and send me a direct message. Let me know, because I'm here to support you being the man that you want to be, to lead and step up in your life. All right. And while you're at it, make sure you hit that subscribe button over there, that little red button in the corner. Let us know what you think about The Rising Man by going over to risingman.org and becoming a bigger part of the Rising Man family. You dig? Peace out, fam.
Hi guys, make sure to subscribe. Thanks. Rise up and claim your destiny.